Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Know 360, show hosted by me, Annette, the warm hearted warrior diva. This show gives you insights on the journeys of high achieving business owners and music artists who share with our audience the importance of building a strong community of like minded individuals on the road to greater success. Today's show is a collaboration between NNO 360 and Hotep. Hotep, educational media mogul, is a phenomenal educator. By the way, I met him at InvestFest. Shout out to InvestFest.
Hmm.
Hotep is from New York City, and he is the embodiment of the progress made during the civil rights movement, the birth of hip hop music, and the prominence of pro Black African consciousness in the American culture. After graduating from Morehouse College, he became one of the only Black male elementary teachers in his district. There, he learned firsthand how powerful and influential media is on human minds and psyche. These experiences led Hotep to become an entrepreneur. Hotep says he had to become an entrepreneur, right? Simply
Hmm.
because he couldn't allow himself to be in a position where he needed to seek other people's permission. I heard that to make visions his reality. I too am in the transition as well. uh, Hotep is a consultant to schools across the US, a father of two, and a producer of several different types of media, including books, cartoons, films, music, and video games. His profound work has earned him nominations for the Presidential Citizens Award and as a CNN hero. Yay! Hotep believes in entrepreneurship and is the key for freedom for all people. It's either entrepreneurship or ownership or slaveship, as he says. Welcome, Hotep, and thank you for joining me today, sir.
Thank you, Annette. Thank you for that illustrious introduction. It's always uncomfortable for me to hear, those formal introductions. But thank you for the opportunity to talk with you and your audience about the work that we're doing over here.
Oh, wonderful. I see we have somebody else online. Should I broadcast a WW here or
No,
no?
no, I didn't know somebody wanted to get on, so I didn't know what to share with them.
Oh, okay, wonderful, wonderful. No worries, sir. I have several questions for you today, and I hope you're ready.
Let's do it.
All right. So the first question is, who or what inspired you to start a career as an entrepreneur?
Um, that's a great question. I have to say necessity. As I said, as you read in my quote, my journey in entrepreneurship literally started when I was endeavoring to get into the music industry, and I had an opportunity to sit down with Sony Records in New York, in Manhattan, and I remember distinctly sitting across the table from the record executive, and he listening to our demo. This is way back in like 1990, right? Um, in 1990, 91, he listened to our demo, nodded his head, said he liked a few things, wanted us to change it, certain things, and present ourselves in ways that he thought would be in the best interest of his label. And, no, sounds good, great for him, but didn't sound too good to us. It was me and my brother and my cousin. We were a group at the time. And, like most people who are true artists, it's a very personal, your artistry is very personal to you, right? It's an extension of who you are. It's an expression of, your most true and authentic self, if it's really art, right? If it's done correctly. And so, for someone to sit there and try to refashion and remix who I am and what I do and how I express myself didn't sit well with me. And so it's really there at that time that I decided that it was important for me to reposition myself in life, right? Why am I sitting here across the table waiting for this gentleman to give me the green light to do what I want to do, right? Who is he? You know what I'm saying? Who is he to tell me yes or no? You understand? And that's been my attitude throughout my life. And then right then and there, I experienced it for the first time on the professional level. And, I told my brothers that, no, it's not the way we're going to go. We're going to do it ourselves. So it's then that I learned all the different aspects of entrepreneur, not all, but all the necessary aspects necessary to release an album. So I learned how to produce, market, sell, replicate, all those different things that are needed to create a finished product in the music industry and then ultimately sell it. And from there, I've never stopped.
Wow, that is so wonderful. You're such an inspiration for sure.
Thank you.
I want to grow up and be just like you one day. So, can you recall the exact moment that you knew you wanted to become this entrepreneur? I know you stated that part of freedom, but when do you think you were like, you know what, I think I'm going to go this route?
Yeah. So on the heels of that experience, I was also transitioning from New York to Atlanta, where I live now. It was the year that I was leaving high school and going to Morehouse College. So in addition to that experience, I was surrounding myself with, bigger thinking people than the people in my local neighborhood. I'm meeting people from all around the country, people who have already demonstrated the willingness to do work, put in work, right? Because that's what school is. School is a demonstration that you don't like it, but you do it anyway. You show up. That's why, school is like a dojo for the rest of your life if you really pay attention to it. So, I'm at college. I'm meeting people from all around the country, people that think differently, people that are big on education, expanding their knowledge base. And I'm meeting people from Detroit and California and people that, are thinking even bigger than I was at the time. And so that really helped solidify my decision to become an entrepreneur because I'm, as you mentioned, the important, one of the major keys to being successful in life is understanding that hustler's commandment number one is true. Your network is your net worth, right? And so once you understand that, you constantly start looking at people differently and associating yourself with people based off of them being an asset or a liability. So, once you start doing that, once I started doing that, then it was, again, just no looking back, and so to this day, that's how I live my life, surrounding myself with bigger thinking people, smarter people that are capable in a variety of different ways and especially in the areas that I'm not strong in. So, yeah, that was 1991, 92.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I miss those years because I'm still stuck with hip hop during that era for sure.
Yeah.
And so, what challenges have you faced during your journey and becoming this entrepreneur?
Oh man, you don't have enough time for the challenges, this is, and they never stop. People ask me all the time, Hotep, how do you, deal with failure, and I say, man, first of all, please understand that you are going to fail multiple times on your way to success, right? The pathway to success is laden with failures. And I say that because somebody that's listening to this needs to hear that. Somebody that's listening to this might have failed or is failing right now, feels down about themselves or what they lost and so on and so forth. And, remember that life is lesson. So, instead of being down in the dumps and beating yourself up about how you failed, pay attention to what happened or what didn't happen, why it did. And as we say at Hustle University, it's always trial and measure. So try things, measure the results, and then refine the process from there. Not trial and error, trial and measure. It's a different mindset over here at Hustle U.
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you. So to your question, what was the question again? I'm sorry, I don't think I even answered. Oh, failures or less challenges.
Right.
My biggest challenge, and the reason why my consulting firm is called Makeaway Consulting, is my journey as an entrepreneur is one of the individual that could never find a way. I always had to learn how to make a way. What I mean is, when I was in the music industry, as I told in that story, I went for help. I seek help from people. I reach out. I'm always outreach, in the process of outreach, because I believe commandment number one, your network is your net worth. So I'm always looking for people, looking to build with people. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's my hair or my face or my voice or my personality, and people find me to be very direct and blunt, and sometimes it's off-putting to people. And, the fact that I'm very serious and hold people accountable for what they say and what they don't say. A lot of people aren't used to that, except for, maybe with their parents. So I'm big on relationship building, but in my life, it's always been a matter of quality and not quantity. So on my journey, every time I start a new endeavor, as I reach out to people, I find that it's difficult for people to either take, even to this day, take me serious, or or wonder if they're going to get hustled by me, or I'm going to outshine them, or whatever it is they're concerned about. And so the biggest challenge that I've had is finding good people, right? Finding good people. But I constantly stay optimistic about the people, even in this space of anime where I'm now with the Black Lion and Cubs. Finding good people is difficult, especially now in the social media realm, where people are just used to being fake and used to, doing, they use terms like ghosting, and they have mental health issues and, self-care. So what I found today, different from before, is even more than before, people lack the social and emotional competencies for success in business, and particularly for relationship building. And so, because I'm big on relationships, and like I said, I hold people accountable, you can't be around me long being fake. You can't be around me long, being weak or soft or fragile, you know what I'm saying? Because you're going to break real quickly around a person like me. I'm an OG, not an IG. You understand? So that's I'll say that's been my biggest challenge, but it's also been my biggest blessing, because it's also one of my strengths. People that know me, that have been down with me, my relationships span decades, not a couple of months. They span decades. So one of the principles for me is loyalty is royalty. You hear me say that all the time. Loyalty is royalty. And I have a loyal team of people around me. Even as I continue to build new relationships, they stay loyal. They stay down because I present myself in the way that I am, and I stay true to that. And they can count on it like, money in the bank. So I'm gonna stop talking, because I could, as you can see, I can talk all day. But yeah, simply put, the biggest challenges for me are centered around relationships and people. People can be great assets. They can also be, great liabilities as well. And, finding people that can continually help take you to the next level, and in a way that's consistent, has been a challenge. And I'll stop right there.
Well, thank you for that, sir.
You're welcome.
And how have you persevered despite these challenges? I'm glad you mentioned that.
Well, two things. I tell people I'm an optimistic opportunist. You understand? So I always stay optimistic, no matter what happens in my life, how many times I fail, what's happening with the government or overseas or whatever. I always stay optimistic, because at the end of the day, we know the Creator has the master plan. So I stay optimistic in the face of all the foolishness that's happening in my life or in the world. And the other thing is, I'm an opportunist, and people, hear that term like, well, what do you mean you're an opportunist? Because many people don't understand what being an opportunist is really about. Right. So let me be clear. People of all religions and faiths, they go to church or they pray on Sundays or every night and every morning for opportunity, right? Thank you, God. Give me this. They're looking for something, right? They ask God for these things. And then when God sends it to them, they're like, oh, no, I don't want to be an opportunist, right? So then now they back down. So my point is, people ask for things, and then they're given these opportunities in life, these blessings that they ask for, and they're too scared, too meek. They have the wrong mindset and understanding of what opportunity is and what it means to be an opportunist. So they miss their blessings. They miss their blessings consistently through their lives. And so different from those people, I'm an opportunist. So I pray, I'm optimistic, I'm grateful and have gratitude. And then when the creator gives me the lane and gives me the opportunity, I seize it and he gives me more. And that's why I'm always able to build, you know, and again, you know, you've heard me talk about my journey from 1991, right? 1991. One thing people that know me will tell you, I've always grown and expanded and excelled all a year after year after year. So people that know me, you know, see what I'm doing with Black Lion and Cubs, they're not surprised because I've been doing that for a long time. I've been doing this for a long time. And so that's how being optimistic and being an opportunist and combining those two things together.
Wow, that sounds great. Sounds like a great mixture for a cake tonight.
Thank you.
What was your best collaboration with the whole networking through your journey?
My best collaboration. It's hard for me to place value on the collaborations that I have. I would say my number one collaboration is that I have with my wife. I've been married for 21 years now. And I tell people being married to her is my best business decision of all the business decisions I ever made. Getting married to the right person. I'll say it again, not just getting married to the right person has been the best collaboration for me. She's my life partner, and we operate and been navigating for a long time. And again, what you see me doing right now, I always have to attribute a part of that to my wife and her being in my life. Outside of her, my homie Red, you know what I'm saying? He's my long time, my brother Red, not my friend, my brother Red. He's, you know, anybody that's seen me since 2005, 2006 knows Red. He's my ace boon coon, as they say, right? My PNC and all those different attributes we can give to that, you know. And then I have several other people, but those are the two most notable, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Wes and Barry. Shout out to Candace. Shout out to you know, Nancy. Shout out to the people that have been, you know, rocking with me for a long time. But you know, those two in particular are like the two longest running and most intimate, if you will.
Right. Well, shout out to Mrs. Hotep for sure. Of course, with a strong man, there's a strong woman behind him pushing him along. Uh, it is, you know, true. It's evident. And name 3 businesses, right, you would love to collaborate with in the future.
3 businesses that I like to collaborate with. Oh man, so many. All right. Well, the 3 that come to mind right now: Google. I'd like to collaborate with Google.
Okay.
Just because since I've heard of Google, they've always been doing things differently and in such a way that have been transformative, not just to the business world, but everything that we do, the whole fabric of our lives, you understand, has been transformed because of Google and those people that are in that operation. So that's a company I'd like to collaborate with, even though I don't even know how, you know, specifically what that collaboration would look like. I just know I'm in the room with smart people, you know, free thinking people. So that's where I go with it. So Google is one. I'd say Amazon is another. Right, Amazon is another. They're another one, just like Google, that's changed the world in such a way and continues to be on. It's not just like they do it one time. They're constantly making moves and buying other companies that you don't think, wait, why are they buying that? Oh, look at that. Look what they did. They just took over the world. You got to be careful, Google and Amazon. They are indeed taking over the world. And if I'm going to be, you know, rocking with anybody, I want to be rocking with somebody that's on some worldwide domination maneuvers. You understand? The third, I'm going to say, simply because I've been listening and you know, hearing about them and some of the things that's been happening to them, and because I'm a fan, I'd say the third one would be Disney. Disney would be another organization that I'd be interested in collaborating with. Simply because I'll say this, I would have been, I'm talking about Disney when Walt was alive. You understand?
Okay.
When Walt was alive. I don't know these people that are running Disney right now, but in listening to the history of Disney and things that they did and how they moved, man, it was incredible. Disney and McDonald's with Ray Kroc. Would be Walt and Ray Kroc in particular. Those guys around that at their era, not the current era, because I don't really know what they're doing now. So that'd be it.
Okay, I love it. I love those three. And besides of what I've already mentioned about Hotep, who is Hotep?
Oh man, I am a black man and I'm a father. Those are the two attributes or aspects of myself that I want to be most prominent, remembered, and considered when people think about me. And the reason being is because it's those two attributes that I hope that I represent best. You understand? Like when I go out into the world and when I operate, when I speak, I always hope to represent what we call Black excellence. You understand? My business acumen, my business practices, the way, my thoughts, my ideas, everything that the way I present myself in any kind of capacity, my relationship with my wife, everything I do in a space that represents the best of us, because I know people are watching. And as much as other people are watching, I know we're watching each other. And I love it when I go into spaces where we are and people recognize the excellence amongst us. Like, wow, you know what, me and you, we both Black, but man, you representing us well. Thank you. You understand? Or I go out with my wife and people say, man, y'all make a great couple. I know they're saying that's Black love there. We're representing excellence and Black love. Or if they see my family, right, and they see my wife and myself and my two kids, like, oh, you guys, that's a representation of what the best of us can be. And so that ties back into the fatherhood part, because now that I'm a father, I started later than a lot of my colleagues. One of the announcements I made when I celebrated my 50th, which was back in October, was that I was going to transition my theme, my life theme. So the first 50 years of my theme was hustle. Like, people know me through Hustle University, through my first book, The Hustler's 10 Commandments. So when people that know me from those days or knew me up until this time, they know the hustle theme, because I was a big part of that. And ushering in that whole hustle era, that was me. You understand? Yes, you can do your research. People that know is me that was on the cusp with the rest of them. But now that I'm 50 and I'm a father, I've committed my life to changing that theme. So my new theme for my life and the rest of my life is going to be centered around building strong children, right? It comes from an expression from a quote from Frederick Douglass, who said, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And yeah, it's powerful, right, man? When you hear that, it's just like, move, yeah, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And once you hear it, you know it's true. And I'm actively engaged in that process myself as a father, building strong children in my household. And because I'm doing that now, currently, then it enables me to do the same for other people's children. So that's how we got to Black Lion and Cubs, because Black Lion and Cubs is an extension of that theme, my life's mission at this point, right? I'm in the process of finding ways to build strong children. I do so through the variety of forms of educational media. So whether it's music, whether it's film, whether it's books, and now anime, everything you see is an extension of that desire to represent the best of what the best of us as Black people, but then also to help build strong children. And I do so first and foremost as a father.
Wow, wonderful and well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've just volunteered to be a Girl Scout troop leader. recently for my daughter. So
Ah,
we'll see how that goes.
mhm, mhm.
What steps do you take when creating your cartoons, video games, and comics?
So I'm notorious for operating outside of the box. Okay. And the reason being is because during my journey, I've typically entered a new industry as an outsider, right?
Mhm.
I started in the music industry. I wasn't so much an outsider in the music industry, but when I decided to transition from music into the film industry and put out my first documentary, I ain't know nothing about putting out films. I was a music producer and a rapper, right? But I knew it's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to express myself that way. When I transitioned from the film industry to writing my first book, I never really considered myself much of an author. You know, I'm not one of those people. I'm just me, right? I'm not an author. But I wrote a book. Right? I'm not a filmmaker, but I got a documentary out. And so I've always been that type of person that never associated myself with the people in the industry, although I was embarking to enter the industry itself.
Mhm.
Fast forward to now, I'm in the anime world, comics and, superheroes and all that. I left all that when I was in middle and high school. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like I'm not one of these fanboys, blurs and all. That's not me. You understand? I'm not in that world,
Mhm.
as a fan, if you will. I'm in that world as a producer, right? I'm
Mm.
not in the world. So now that I'm entering anime, uh, again, I'm doing so as an outsider. And I say I'm giving you this history because anytime people ask me questions like that about my process, well, my process is is totally different from many people's because I don't know what people do in this industry. This is the
Mm.
lesson that I learned. In every industry, people do things the industry way, right?
Mm.
And when you do things the industry way, you kind of get jumbled up and muddled up with everybody else that's doing the exact same thing you're doing. Case in point, when I was in the music industry, what do? We put out a demo, we go to the music conferences, hope someone listens to it here, listen to my CD, make a mixtape, all that's all we did, right?
Mhm.
When I learned the value of competitive advantage, if you will, or learned the value that uh, instead of being dime a dozen, I should focus on helping people see that I'm the diamond in the rough. Well,
Mm.
then, how does a person in the music industry separate themselves from all the other people that are doing the same thing? That's how I got into filmmaking, you see, because
Mhm.
I had an opportunity as a musician to go to a film industry conference. I went to the film industry conference, not dime a dozen anymore. Ain't nobody like me there because everybody there is a filmmaker because they're doing things their industry way. So my point is that lesson really helped me start operating outside of these industry boxes and taking
Mhm.
lessons, strategies, techniques from one industry and applying them to another. So when it came to getting into this world of anime and superheroes and comic books and such, I just started doing what I did in the music industry or doing what I did in the film industry or doing what I did as an author and started applying a combination of those things to this industry to the extent that although Black Lion and Cubs was first thought about in literally in, I'm sorry about that. Let me just send this message real quick. Although Black Lion and Cubs was first, the idea for Black Lion and Cubs came to me in February of this year. It only took 6 months for me to release the cartoon, the comic book, the album, a card deck, and then I
Mhm.
have so many more. I have 2 books out right now with my characters, and I'm just constantly expansively thinking and releasing content to the world. And including the video game too. I forgot the video game to share that I have that as well. And again, the reason why that is because I'm not operating according to the anime industry way. Going to Comic-Con, setting up a table, selling books.
Right.
People, I don't sell books. I sell boxes. What you doing? I'll say it again. I don't sell books. I sell boxes. You understand? So different. But I
Mhm.
learned the selling of boxes when I was in the author world, if you will. right? So I hope I'm answering the question.
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay, yeah. Somebody likes it, I see.
Yeah, I love it. I love your concept and your mindset on this. So, do you like the virtual or in-person platform and why?
Oh, definitely in person.
Okay.
I'm a people person. Although I don't really like a lot of people, I'll be honest, I don't like a lot of people. I am indeed a people person. People invigorate me. They energize me. Um, so yeah, definitely in person. That experience is exciting to me, and the reason part of it is because our auras, we're made out of electricity, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when you're around people, especially the right people and good people,
Right.
that energy, you can absorb it. You understand? And that it can make you stronger and better and all those different things. So, I really enjoy the in-person experience a whole lot more, you know?
Yeah. Looks like Lito Red said, I love your vision. My friend makes anime comic books. I've been intrigued ever since. Thank
All
you,
right.
Lito
Yeah.
Red.
Thank you. Oh, you know what? I should have changed my tag to my IG. When I do these interviews, all I want is people to follow the journey and share what we're doing at Black Lion and Cubs. So for that person, if you will, if you're on IG, follow us, share what we're doing, please. I'm not asking for any money from anybody. I'm not interested in their money, right? I'm just interested in making Black Lion and Cubs the next biggest thing since Dragon Ball Z. You understand? That's the mission. So
Right.
and I don't know how to do it. I'm figuring it out though. And so for all of you that are listening here, if you will, please, thank you. All right. We got, hey, I like this person here, whoever that is.
Yeah, Lito Red.
Yeah. At Black Lion and Cubs, I'm on IG. Please share. Don't just follow. Share it with your world, your audience, and keep staying tuned. Watch the journey. I'm very excited because I'm a long-time entrepreneur and because I do things differently, it's really going to blaze a trail for other people coming up behind me, and also people that are in the space right now that are trying to figure it out. Right? I'm going to demonstrate and show firsthand how you can do this without having to do crowdfunding and all those different things. So please share, especially if you believe in the importance of having something family friendly, something that our children can watch, and something that's not just that they can watch, something that's appropriate for our children to watch instead of all the sexuality and the violence that's in a lot of anime today. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with sexuality and violence. I like sexuality. I like violence, but not for my children. You understand what I'm saying? Not for my kids. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You got to, so, anyway, thank you. Thank you. Mhm.
And think back to a situation, right, where you had to make a difficult like project deadline. What lesson did you learn from that experience?
A few things. Number one, I am a bona fide crunch time player.
Mm.
Okay. Some people, for many years, I just thought that I was being lazy or being a procrastinator. Right.
Mhm.
Now, some people are procrastinators, some people are lazy, but I'm neither of those things. I'm actually a crunch time player. What I mean is, when the time is short, when the pressure is on, it really invigorates me. It gives me power. It gives me energy. You understand? It's kind of like the Incredible Hulk for all my nerds out there, right? It's kind of like the Incredible Hulk, right? The more you hit him, the more angry you make him, the bigger he gets, the stronger he gets. That's me. I'm kind of like the Incredible Hulk. So I'm a crunch time player. And so when the pressure's on, I'm built in such a way that it invigorates me and gives me the strength and energy and power to see it through and to get it done. In
Mhm.
addition to that, when it comes to deadline, and so yeah, in addition to that, I've also learned that there are many people that are not crunch time players. There are many people that are lazy and procrastinators. And
Right.
so seeing that difference and that dichotomy
Mhm.
has really unfortunately put me in a precarious situation where I tend to rely on myself a lot more than most CEOs do. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like most CEOs and business owners, their first thing is, distribute the responsibility to someone else, outsource, so on and so forth. And while that is smart, a smart idea, as we all know, good help is hard to find. And
Yeah.
particularly when it comes down to deadlines and when you're in the artistic space, let me say this again. I'm gonna say it every time I'm gonna say it every time I need to say it. Artists are some of the worst people to work with when it comes to business, right? Because artists are into their emotions. Like I said, it's personal. I'm an artist myself. So artists like to do things when they feel like it, when the wind flows, when they're, so on and so forth. Their emotions really dictate a lot of their activity. But in business, no one cares how you feel. You understand? Things need to get done. Oh, someone died in your family. Hey, what that got to do with me? That's how business is. You understand? So artists have a hard time really appreciating that or understanding that. And so as a businessman, having to work with artists, I've learned how to rely on myself more often than not, or put things in place so that I don't have to rely on one person to get things done. So to your other question about my process for creating artwork or comic books or cartoons, I have several different artists. You understand?
Oh.
I hire several different people to accomplish the creations that I have. And the reason being is because you know what? Sometimes one will falter. I got the other one. I could run with that. So on and so forth. So anybody that goes to, for example, my IG page, you'll see the artwork of several artists. And that's part of how that happened, because I know that if I'm going to rely on one person, that's not a good way to go about business. So that's what the deadlines has done. Because see, what happens is, as a businessman or a woman, people will hold your project hostage. They will hold your project hostage if you put them in a position that you rely on them for everything. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Some of them will do it on purpose. Others will just do it, just because they don't know no better, or they're just artists. They don't feel like it or whatever. I can tell you, I got 3 projects right now that has taken forever. You know what I'm saying? Because I got artists that are holding my, these projects hostage, but they ain't gonna stop me. You understand? I got other things in the fire that are moving forward while that happens. So anyway, that's what the deadline thing has caused me to do. Rely on myself because I can, and because particularly in the space of artistry, you have to be careful with artists. Now, eventually, through the process of hiring so many people, you begin to find people that are reliable, people that are consistent, people that deliver on time or even faster. And those are the people that I continue to work with even to this day and keep them paid.
I love it. I love that mindset on that. You got to keep it moving.
Yeah,
your business.
Look, I wrote the book, Keep It Moving. I've written over 20 books, and that's the title of one of them. It's called Keep It Moving. And you know what? It's no mistake that it's actually one of the more popular books as well. So, yeah, keep it moving, baby.
That's right. So share an experience illustrating how your communication style makes you an effective entrepreneur.
Well, like I mentioned before, it should have been, if I was going to write or continue the Hustler's 10 Commandments, I would probably add that as one of the principles for the Hustler's 10, a statement specifically about communication. I find that between relationships and communication is where people tend to falter when it comes to business. Notice I'm not talking about money or reading, information or sponsors or opportunity. That has little to do with people's success in business. I'm going to tell you right now, 2 big things that people don't talk enough about is people's inability to build effective relationships and to also communicate well. Now, notice, in order to have a good relationship, you need to do what? Communicate. So there's a linkage there. But my point is, I communicate simply. Like right now, as you hear me speak, sometimes I throw in an SAT word or what have you, but I speak in a very plain language. And as much as I've been in business and I have a degree from Morehouse, I even have a master's degree, I tend not to use the vocabulary all the time of my peers in business, right? They like to sound intelligent, and my man, one of the justices that I met at the Supreme Court, he said, Hotep, I like your style. He said, you know what? I meet too many people that use $1 million words to communicate 5-cent ideas. You see what I'm saying? I hope you caught that right there. Yeah, yeah. That came out of his. That's a Supreme Court justice right there, and
Wow.
that sums up my communication style. It's direct, it's
Uh-huh.
succinct, but it's
Uh-huh.
also simple, because
Right.
there's a difference between speaking and communicating, right?
Mm,
There's a
mhm,
difference between writing words and actually communicating ideas. And
mm,
so, some people, they can speak well, they sound good, they're great ministers, or people that like to be motivational speakers. They have great wordplay, and it sounds good, but it doesn't work well in the application of what they're discussing. So
mhm.
I tend to speak simply, succinctly, and directly. The
Right.
direct part of it is really what catches people off guard, because people might ask me something. I'll tell them, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You see what
Mhm,
I'm saying? Now, I'm not one of these people trying to appease everyone. I don't, say yes to everything. I have to think about it, or the answer will be no. I'm not afraid to tell people no.
mhm.
Or if somebody, you know, if somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do, I'll let them know. Now, hold on, that wasn't right. And I'll let them know, So it's not disrespectful. It's
Right.
just direct and to the point. And most people are not used to that, because I find many people's either, this is what it is. More often than not, people like to talk about people instead of to people.
Mhm.
You understand?
Yeah.
I talk to people, not about people. So I don't engage in a lot of gossip, a lot of hearsay, so on and so forth. If I got a problem with you, you know it because I told you. You understand?
Right.
Or the opposite. If I like what you're doing, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you the praise. And the
Yeah.
irony is, many people in my experience, are not even used to the praise. Right?
Mm.
They're not
Wow.
used to, they're not used to being held accountable either way, for positive
Mm.
or negative. So I'm the first person to say, you know what, I appreciate you, to say
Wow.
thank you. That was really
Yes.
great. You know what? I need you. I don't have any problem saying that. Or I'm sorry. I say
Mhm,
these things. And so again, unfortunately,
mhm,
I found that more often than not, as adults in this world, we lack the social and emotional competency to do these very basic and clear things that I'm talking about. And so
mhm,
that's the reason why the building of strong children is so important, you see, because if we teach it to our children young, they grow up
mhm,
into adults being able to build better relationships, to communicate more effectively, and then
mhm,
be successful in their lives.
for sure. Kind of reminds me of the skit from Dave Chappelle. When keeping it real goes wrong
Mm,
sometimes,
yeah, yeah.
because there's a time and place for different things, and how you articulate to the individual. Looks like Leader Red says when people try to protect their feelings and get caught up uh, in the long run, they can't be afraid to say no if it's in their best interest. Very well said, ma'am.
Yes, 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 yes.
So, moving along, how do you stay motivated in producing new content?
Uh, I get asked that question a lot. Motivation is not an issue for me. Um, I talk about social emotional learning because it's literally the biggest key to my success and many people's success. And I'm not just talking about financial success. I'm talking about being happy. You understand? Like, I'm literally happy. I'm having fun in life right now. You understand? I'm having fun.
Mhm,
And as much as I'm making money, I'm enjoying the journey and the
mhm,
process.
mhm.
I'm able to laugh and smile. I sleep extremely well. You understand? I sleep well. I'm not one of these people that you see on your timelines who's smiling in your face and then ready to commit suicide behind closed
Mm,
doors. I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm literally enjoying life. Like, it's really good. And the reason why that is because, for whatever reason, there's a lot of factors that have come to this point in my life where I've developed the social and emotional capacity and the competency for this. And it's what I spend my time now when I work with these schools, teaching young people or teaching teachers how to help young people develop that as well. Because it's the
mm,
biggest differentiator between people that are miserable in life, even people that have money, miserable, right? Or
mm.
people that are miserable with no money, right? Yeah.
Right.
So, so motivation isn't an issue because partially of that social and emotional competency.
Mhm,
I feel good, not just about the world. I feel
Right.
good about myself. You understand? I
Mhm.
feel good about myself and the possibilities. That's why I said I'm an opportunist. I mean, I'm an optimist, right?
Mhm.
I feel good about the world. I feel good about myself. And so motivation comes inherently with that, because I walk through every day believing good about myself and the possibilities for the outcomes of my ideas and my desires and my plans. So I go for it. I go for
Mm.
it. I just always
Right.
go for it, and I believe it's supposed to be. You know, like
Mm.
I believe it. You know, at a baseline core of who I am, I believe
Right.
I'm supposed to be successful. You understand? I believe
Yes.
the world. I can bend the world to my will.
Mm.
And so it's that type of confidence and self-esteem that's necessary, and you'll hear it
Right.
consistent amongst all people that have that do well in life, right? You'll hear that same type of idea in different language, I'm sure, but so that's what it is. And so motivation isn't an issue because because of those things. And so I'm always, that's why I never stopped. When I wrote my third book, I told my wife, I said, babe, look, I'm gonna stop. All right, 3 books, that's enough, right? Here I am 20 books later, video games and cartoons. It just doesn't stop because I can't stop. It's ingrained in who I am. And I wouldn't even call it motivation. It's just how I live my life. You understand? It's just what I'm supposed to do and how
Mhm.
I operate on a daily basis.
Mm.
Mm.
I love it. Like a natural essence of who you are.
Yes, and I wish, and the see thing is, I wish it for other people. You
Mm.
understand? And for whatever reason, that's the reason why I stopped, coaching entrepreneurs. Right? I used to,
Mm.
coach entrepreneurs all the time. I just got tired of wasting my time
Oh.
with adults, especially men. They want to stick out their chest. Everybody want to act like they're the alpha male. Get out of here. Go sit down somewhere with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sit down. But yeah, people, grown-ups, they want to act like, oh, I'm an adult now, so they know something. They don't need to listen. And
Right.
let's go ahead with that then. So, but I do, this it's part of why the in-person experience is powerful for me, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I want to see more people win. I want to
Mhm.
see more people be happy.
Right.
I want to see more people walk through life with the glow and the confidence and the esteem that, man, you can go get it. And if you don't have it now, not having is no excuse for not getting. You
Right.
understand? Not having is no excuse for not it, man. Write that shit down. Oh, excuse me, pardon me. Okay, I got loose, right? Pardon me, excuse me. Write it down. See, not
Right.
having is no excuse for not getting. Somebody needs to hear that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
somebody here listening that likes to complain about what they don't have. I don't have this. I don't have that. Yeah,
Right.
you don't have it. But you know what? You can get it.
Yeah.
We
You
can
can
show
get
you
it.
how. That's right. You can get it.
And what you just said is very powerful because you do have to write it down and reflect on it, right? So writing it down is kind of like you're in class and you're learning a subject, and in order to retain it, you have the visual, and then you have to write it, and then you read it, right? Because you're saying it to yourself. So it's repetition is the mother of skill, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is one important lesson that you've learned since becoming an entrepreneur?
I've given you all the lessons right here. Let's see another one that I can share. Let's see another important lesson. Uh, I have to always reflect back to the Hustler's 10 Commandments, right?
Okay.
Commandment number 6: business is personal.
Mm,
A lot of people, don't understand that principle, and they lost. They love to live by the old adage because it sounds good. Oh, it's business, not personal. Psh, stop it. Listen, the truth of the matter, and any real OG knows this, right? I'm not saying anything new. I put it in language that people can understand and remember, but the OGs know this.
mhm,
Business is personal.
right.
People do business with people they like, right?
Mhm.
First and
Yes.
foremost, if I like you, I want to give you my money. I want you to have my money. I got money in my pocket. If I don't like you, hell no, you ain't getting no money from me. It's just that simple. Now,
Right.
see, I've broken it down. I'm always going to do this. Like some people want to complicate things. It's simple, right? I got another one for you. But anyway, it's simple. Business is personal. Business is an
Business
endeavor,
person.
right? Where people try to make money. If I got money and I like you, I want you to have it. And if I got money and I don't like you, I'm not giving it to you. It's just that simple. So if you understand the principle, then you can do better in business just by making sure that you build better relationships, as I've been talking about. The other lesson I've learned that I want to share with people is that there is indeed a science to success. There is indeed a science to success. I've been writing about this science for many years now, over a decade, 2 decades now.
Wow.
Right? Once you understand and apply, I'll say not just understand the science, apply the science, success is just as predictable as 1 + 1 = 2. Okay.
Wow.
And this is factual. This is not just theories and such, right? It's fact. There's a science to success. And so what happens is some people know that there's a science to success, but they just don't apply it. You see? So that's why you have all these information junkies. They read all the motivational books and go to all the seminars. They're still failing, right? Why are they still failing, right? Or you have people that go to church every Sunday and Wednesday and Thursday. They read their holy books, the Quran, the Bible, Bhagavad Gita, Torah, whatever it is, but their lives are still miserable. You see? So these people are studying the information, but they have trouble with the implementation. So I just want to be clear that if you're wondering, ladies and gentlemen, yes, there is indeed a science to success that when understood and applied, most importantly, apply. You don't even have to understand it. If you apply it, right? Success is just as predictable as 1 + 1 = 2. And the opposite is true. Without the application, doesn't happen. Oh, and if it does happen without the application, it's just luck, and that don't last that long.
And what led you to the epiphany of that moment?
I can't cite one incident. What knowing that there's a science of success. I wrote about it in 2005 when I wrote The Hustler's 10 Commandments. Okay. And then I've been applying since then. And even before then, I've been applying it. It's really through my experiences with the people that I've brought on board with me that I've been able to demonstrate the applied science, right? So it's one thing for people to read my books or hear me speak and say, oh, that's great. It's another thing for people to be on the road traveling with me where I can show them, like, look, remember I said this? Watch this happen. Boom, boom, boom. You can see it. 1 + 1 = 2. Oh, shoot. It happened right there in front of my face. So the best experiences and the best teachings that I've ever provided was for the people that I've mentored and took along with me to show them the application of the science so that they can see the results. I don't have any one incident, but those people that have rolled with me and continue to, they'll swear by it themselves. Like any of the people that have been a part of my journey and have rolled with me, they'll tell you that. In fact, one of the books that I wrote is called Hustle and Grow Rich, right? And Hustle and Grow Rich, a lot of the people that I was, mentoring or coaching along that time, that I took with me, they just contributed chapters to that book just so they can share the, share their lessons and the fact that, man, I saw it myself. I didn't hear it. I saw it happen.
So people, well, we could get to this at the end of the discussion, but people can get your books on Amazon or
No.
straight towards your link, your website.
So I told you, I don't sell books. I sell boxes, right? So I don't have any books on Amazon because Amazon, first of all, wants, for those of you that are excited about having books on Amazon, they don't get too excited about that because Amazon wants a 40%, 50% cut. And then they don't even share with you who the customers are that are purchasing your books, right? So what kind of businessman lets that happen, right? You take 50%, and I don't know who the customers are, so I can't upsell or stay in communication with them and build those relationships with them. Nah. So I don't have any of my products on Amazon. I closed that down many years ago when I understood that. And but It's not to say that you can't find some of my books on Amazon. It's just that you'll have people reselling it. And the Hustler's 10 Commandments, you can go on it right now. Go on Amazon right now. Look for the Hustler's 10 Commandments. You got some people selling it for as much as $400.
Wow.
Yes.
The Hustler's 10
Yeah,
Commandments.
look it up. You see it. Last time I did a training in Chicago, and someone asked me about the Hustlers 10, and they pulled it up on it because that's the first thing people do is go. That's why I want to do business with Amazon on another level because they're so smart, right? But yeah, they pulled it up on Amazon looking for it. They showed me it's like $400. Somebody selling it.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, I typically don't. So I only sell wholesale. Typically to the schools that I serve or to other organizations. To the question about audiobooks, I don't know where, I did release because, back in the first hip hop motivational mixtape. Mm-hmm. Yes, I did that. That was me. The first motivational hip hop mixtape was done in conjunction with the Hustlers 10 Commandments back in 2005. So I don't care who you think you heard that does what. Nah, they got it from the kid. They all know this. And you ask them about me. In any case, I know I did put it out there at some point because I created a mixtape for the first 3 books of the Hustlers Bible. That was my trilogy or the Trinity, the Hustlers Bible. But man, you got me talking. I'm supposed to be talking about Black Lion and Cubs. You ain't saying nothing about Black Lion and Cubs. You taking me back to before I was 50. I'm leaving that. Building strong children is where we are at today. Yeah, I'm playing. Go ahead.
Well, we have to know who you are in order to get to that, the Black Lion and Cubs. So if you were producing, right, educational comics, what would you be doing? Like if you weren't doing this right now?
Man.
Yeah.
That is, now, you know what? It's very seldom that I hear a question that stumps me or is extremely unique, but that's the first one right there. That's a good one. Thank you for that, Annette. What would I be doing if I wasn't doing this? I don't know. My first answer, the first thing that came to mind was I'd probably be dead, to be honest with you. Like this, I live life truly authentically. You understand? I believe in a special type of entrepreneurship. I call it authentic entrepreneurship, which is the monetization of one's unique skill set, abilities, and ideas. And where I am right now in my life is the embodiment of that, right? I can't imagine doing anything else with my life unless it might have been for other companies, maybe. Maybe I be doing some marketing. Here I got one. So I'm great with language and slogans. So maybe on for some of these big companies, they could hire me to come up with their advertising campaigns, their mottos, slogans. I got some great concepts with people's commercials and things of that nature. So maybe I could do that. But again, it wouldn't be authentic. Inside, I would be dying. If I wasn't dead, inside I'd be dying because I'd be giving the best of who I am to someone else. You understand? And that's just, I can't. And again, that's why there's people that are very successful that still don't have that sense of satisfaction in their lives because they're giving the best of themselves to other people. And then when they come home, they have nothing for themselves. You understand? Nothing for themselves. So.
Wow. And that goes also for entrepreneurs in general, or just people in general, not just the 9-to-5 workers, right? I mean.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. That's why I call it, again, I'm very succinct with my language, right? I didn't say entrepreneurship. I said authentic entrepreneurship. There's a difference, right? Some people, they're entrepreneurs, they're into real estate and all these. Yeah, okay, you're making money doing, but you don't like it. You don't enjoy that, but you're making money. You are an entrepreneur. It's not really genuine and unique to who you are. It's not the highest expression of who you are. You see, like I said before, I'm an artist, right? So authentic entrepreneurship is really an artistry. You understand? It's
Mhm.
artistry because it's an expression of who you are through the vehicle of business.